You might be wondering why I've got to be or not to be digital as the lead header on my presentation. That's because I've encountered quite a strange phenomenon whilst being at Skipton, which is there are quite a lot of people that as they walk through the turnstiles into the office, just seem to shed their digital persona. They forget that they were on Amazon last night or they were shopping for shoes. And they come in and they become a little bit averse to change. So I'm sure you've all seen this before, hundreds of times, especially if you're consultants. When Skipton Digital only started in 2014, and when we started, I would say that the digital team was probably up here. We were like a bunch of dogs. We were eager and keen, and we just wanted to dive straight in and please everyone. And that's what we did. And we were quite shocked because we didn't get the response we expected. We got quite a lot of resistance. And so we actually went all the way down to depression because we were, well, how's this all going to work? It's digital. It's so exciting. Why aren't you interested in what we're doing? And we realized that it was a journey and that in order to finish the journey or even start it, we needed to take everyone along with us. And what we hadn't really thought about was the people that were already at Skipton, who basically were resenting this cool team of kids that kind of sat in the corner, who were frustrated because we were coming along and trying to change their established ways of working, which had worked for quite a long time. And even in some cases, weren't even sure why we needed to exist because most of our target customers are 45 years and over, and surely they don't use digital at all. So they also were sort of zooming on their way down into depression. So we had to do something in order to tackle this cultural challenge, and that's what the focus is of this presentation. I'm hoping you didn't think you'd literally get a digital roadmap and that you could copy it down and go and use it, because this is very much something that's very close to my heart, because I really believe that you need to take digital out of digital transformation because culture is the biggest challenge you're going to face. Legacy systems, technology, these can all be overcome, but it's about people's mindsets and how they think and how they respond. So essentially, these are the ingredients that we have used to tackle this. And in no order of importance, and also these things didn't come up all at once. We didn't have a miracle plan, which from day one we started doing. These are things that we sort of worked out along the way. So education, disruption, challenge and perseverance, accountability, engagement, reinforce. So firstly on education, the head of digital, Alison Davis, started off in a really positive way by creating a blog. And this was great because she was educating people about digital and what it was about, but she was doing it in a really personal way, and she was involving other people in the process. She got people to guest on her blog and to write their impressions. So very much right from day one, we had a highly personal person that people knew was the figurehead of digital at Skipton Building Society. We then decided that we needed to do some sort of education event because people just didn't really know what we did. So we created an interactive event called Demystify Digital, and we got about 250 people from across the society to attend, and literally they could come and experience what it was like to be in the individual teams. So customer experience, analytics, project delivery managers, content publishers, so right across the board, essentially, so people could understand what it was that we did, and hopefully start to understand what we were trying to achieve. Branches were a very big challenge for us, because as you can imagine, not only are branch staff used to dealing with people face-to-face and often think that digital is a threat, but also because they dispersed across the whole of the country. And it was really, really important for us that people understood that digital was not coming to Skipton to replace branches. It was not coming to Skipton to replace our telephone network. It was there to complement and support. So we started off by getting 19 people from across 89 branches that were really passionate about digital. And we got them together and we said, what can we do? What are the things that we can do? And that started off as literally a bunch of volunteers, and then we actually formalized it and created these digital guides. And their role in branch was twofold. On the one hand, they were there for customers, much like the Barclays Digital Eagles are, to help customers that were coming into the branch to talk about digital or to ask questions about digital, but also as a support mechanism for the rest of the branches where there wasn't much of a passion for digital. And over a period of time, what's been really great is that we started off with volunteers. We then got a group of 19 Those volunteers then had to apply and actually had a job called Digital Guide. But we realized that this wasn't really going to help in the long run because we didn't have branch managers brought in necessarily. We didn't have the regional managers brought in necessarily. And we really needed everyone in branch to intrinsically be digital. It needed to be part of what they did every single day. So since the digital guides, we actually went back and re-looked at what we were doing, and we've created champions at the branch manager level and also at a more senior regional manager level. But at the same time, we've made every single person in the branch accountable and responsible for digital. And that just means that they can have a conversation. That's all it means. So if someone comes in and asks them about a LISA, which you can only apply for online, they actually can have an easy conversation with them. We've also provided them with tools. We have iPads in the branches, which enable them to have conversations around funeral planning or reviews. So that was really a key thing for us in our education, was just to get people skilled up around digital in branches. Obviously, our customers are key to us, and this is the the Skipton family, which our customer insights team pulled together. We did a whole massive campaign where we actually launched this across the building society. We had life-size versions of all these people, and people were invited to get to know those customers. And the important element of that was just understanding where all our different customers were coming from, but also how they operated. And what's quite interesting from a digital perspective is a lot of people will say to you at Skipton, but our customers aren't. They're old. They're in their 60s and 70s. They aren't digital. And what's really important is getting the message across and educating them that they are digital. And in fact, our oldest online customer at the moment is 99 years old. So that just shows you that those sort of stereotypes just don't hold true. Disruption was an absolute key. So 2 years ago, we started thinking about how can we make people realize the importance and actually get some energy under this company around digital. And one of the ways was to hold a digital festival. And essentially what that was a 3-day event. We had 9 speakers from the head of digital for Marks and Spencer's to the CTO of Comic Relief. And we had 65 attendees from across the business. We videoed it so that our branch colleagues that couldn't attend could actually see what we were presenting. And the whole aim of that festival was to disrupt the way people thought, to give them a passion for digital, to get them to understand that other companies were facing similar challenges, and to maybe create that wow moment in their heads. It was a great success. And one of the other elements that we did is we actually had a couple of interactive elements outside of the festival. We based it on the Glastonbury theme. You'll notice there's a bit of a music theme through a lot of the stuff that we do. So we had the main stage and the other stage where people could actually attend talks, but then we also had an area where people could interact with new digital tools. Again, just trying to drive that excitement around digital. We then went on and realized that, it's all great to have a festival once a year, but shouldn't we be doing something that's a little bit more entrenched? So we formed the Skipton Gigs. We do these every couple of months at Skipton. It's the same concept. We usually have 3 speakers. People can come to individual speakers or all 3 of them. It's up to them. And essentially, we bring people together in a very informal atmosphere. We kind of try and make it like a music gig. There's a bit of food, as you can see, comfy couches. So it's not a very formal setting that they can come and hear about stuff to do with digital. And I want to make it very clear that this is not about just technology. It's about cultural change. It's about the barriers that you face. It can be about absolutely anything to do with equipping ourselves for the future. Challenge and perseverance. This is a big one. So every single meeting that we attend as a digital team, be it an audit meeting, a project board meeting, an operational meeting, a project team meeting, we're constantly thinking about the online customer experience and would this be right for the customer? And we are encouraged to challenge. And we encourage other people to challenge through the way we challenge. And we persevere. So if, for example, we challenge risk and legal and compliance, and they say, no, we're not doing it that way, we go out and we find other places that are doing it that way, and we bring it back and we evidence. So we're constantly challenging, constantly trying to push boundaries. And it can be quite exhausting being in the digital team at Skipton Building Society, but it is very rewarding. Accountability. So we realize that if you have a digital team, a lot of people think, well, that's their responsibility. It's got nothing to do with us. Digital and the digital team do digital. And we realized that we needed to entrench a sense of accountability across the whole of the building society. So we kicked off something called Think Digital, which was really a movement more than anything else. And it was about equipping people within the business to understand that this was about their future and that they had to start thinking about ways that they could be better equipped for the future. And that was not just about IT. The amounts of times I would have conversations with people who go, oh, digital equals IT. And I go, no, wait a minute, you need to think about what your future is going to look like. And it took a lot of work. We did a massive launch, and then we actually went into different teams, challenging them and getting them to think in different ways. We had a competition to get people to submit process changes because we wanted to elevate the importance of digital, but also the kinds of changes that we could make that would actually make colleagues' lives easier. And we had 180 responses. And we went through all of those 180 responses and we responded to every single one. And we had a judging panel, and the one that won actually got implemented, which was very exciting for that person who happened to be someone in the branch network. We also introduced things like FaceTime into the branches. So we tried some quick wins where people could interact and engage with each other using tools that they might not have done previously. A big thing around accountability is around leadership, and you guys spoke about it earlier about the senior leaders embracing this whole concept. We have a leadership event every year at Skipton Building Society. We go to Harrogate and we have, how many? It's about 200 leaders across the business. So from financial advisors to branch people to people at head office, all coming together in one forum to talk about what is leadership, how can we be good leaders, how can we improve what we do. And I can remember the very first year I attended, it was like digital didn't exist. I was so depressed. I walked out thinking, oh dear, this is not going to work. And we realized the importance of getting that senior leadership sponsorship, but also ensuring that those sponsors were very vocal within the business. So in year 2, we had a few stalls that were more about digital, so almost separating digital out from the rest of the business. This year, it was completely entrenched in what we do and everything that we do, and that was really, really exciting. So this was a speaker from EY that was talking about the future and basically scared the pants off most people because he was talking about Amazon dropping things into their gardens and driverless cars and all sorts of things. So it's great doing that, but at the same time you have to be practical and you have to make sure that people can understand about what it means to me. And that's why the Skipton gigs are so important, because people get that opportunity to then question and work out how that impacts them. So we've definitely seen accountability change right up to board level. In fact, on the 26th of February, we had 4 or 5 of our board members, our non-executive board members, come and sit in the digital team with us to explore what we're doing. And those kinds of things are really, really important. Engagement. You need to make sure that everyone feels engaged. Digital is not at Skipton about one team, as I'm sure it is not in any of your companies. And we can't achieve what we do without loads and loads of people across the building working together, be it on a project or be it on a campaign. So really important for us was how we reported and how often we reported. And Skipton, quite traditionally, was quite staid in its reporting. They liked long, wordy documents. So for me, partly this was a really big challenge, because what I felt I needed to do in this instance was create something that would be like, if you're thinking about a website, what would the user experience need to be to get people to engage and read? So we created a lot of very visual reporting mechanisms, and very often would speak about how we had achieved things due to the collective, due to our one team value, to ensure that people, it was reinforced that they were involved in what we had achieved. We also quite good at Skipton, as you can tell. This is another event that we pull together. So we do something called Building a Better Society, and we do it once a year, and it's held at head office. This particular Building a Better Society, we focused on looking at our digital past and what we'd achieved, and then looking ahead at our digital future. And the section you're looking at now, which was called, now that's what I call digital, hence the music theme, was all about our past, and it was a very interactive way of engaging people in what we'd done and what we'd achieved. And we had a list, we had a leaderboard of all the things that we'd done. So we've got social media that we use in the Skipton Direct. We launched web chat, which you might all laugh at because you probably had it for ages, but that was a really big thing for us. We'd updated our website. We'd done countless things, and we actually got people to vote on their favorite change. So they were actively going through what things had changed. Some of them would have been involved in the change, and some of them wouldn't. We had video chats. We actually had people, and we made it really funny. So we had a script that they had to follow. So really engaging people. This bit on the bottom here is all about the digital future, where we kind of blew their minds with some virtual reality, and then actually had discussion groups. And then last but not least, we involve people as much as we possibly can in the process. So the We Need You is Skipton's building a customer app. Yes, we're actually building an app in 2017/18/19. And we realized that it would be really important to take the company along with us. So we asked for volunteers, and we got a group of people to work with us as a group, and we would feed back to them on where we were. Obviously we did customer testing, and that group was able to see what the results of that was. Every time we launch something, we do drop-in sessions, or we hold forums where people can actually come and learn about what it is that we've just done. And we tell them about stuff, and we try and do it in a way that entices them. So usually there's either food or chocolate involved, which is very effective. So very much engagement from the start to the end. And then repeat. I saw a speaker from Lloyd's Bank about 2 years ago that spoke about how when you communicate in digital, when you think you're done, you're only 50% done. And Alison, our boss, always talks about feeding the monster. You're never done. It's a continual process in order to make transformation a success. So essentially, what have we achieved at Skipton? We've achieved a state where people don't go, digital's got nothing to do with us, where people are actively and very interested in what we're doing, but we're not yet where we need to be. We've got a long way to go. We are an old building society. Our ways of working are still quite antiquated. We're trying things, we're trying to change things, but we still have a very long way to go. And that's it. I hope that was useful.